What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. This is Decoding with Cody, and today is February 14th, 2026, and this is a live stream. Welcome to the chat, and make sure you guys in the live stream chat give me that thumbs up, sound check, make sure that I'm coming through, and then, as usual, we'll get into a fully packed decode. Lots of stuff, as usual, to put together. Thank you, Coffee Girl, as usual. You guys know, right? Everyone knows Coffee Girl's usually the first one on it for that thumbs up, and I really appreciate you always for always being here. So appreciate everyone who comes and watches the channel, and I hope everyone's having a good Valentine's Day. Can you believe we're already 45 days into the year already? I mean, feels like just yesterday it was New Year's. 45 days in. Wow. But I hope you guys are having a good day, like I said, and we'll wait a few minutes more, and then we'll get into the presentation. This is kind of going to be an overview or a rehashing of some of the stuff we've already talked about, but we're going to take a bit of a different angle, and we're going to look at something more that I haven't touched on so far. Of course, we've had quite a few deaths, celebrity deaths in the month of February, which is quite common around Super Bowl time. And also today is actually Valentine's Day and Lupercalia. If you guys don't know what Lupercalia is, you can look it up, but it's a Roman festival which also had to do with sacrifice. So anyway, today is Lupercalia, or actually you could say tomorrow, I think, is Lupercalia actually. But yeah, a big ritual time as usual. The Matrix seems to have a lot of stuff going on around this time, and as you guys know, we had the passing of James Van Der Beek on the 11th. We also had the passing of Three Doors Down lead singer Brad Arnold, both from cancer. And there's a king over in the United Kingdom who supposedly has cancer, and that's what essentially this decode's going to focus on. Is the connection between King Charles and his cancer and the deaths of Van Der Beek with his cancer, supposedly. Again, all these things are supposed. We don't know for sure about any of this, but we're just going to decode the stories that are given to us. Shout out to Maggie McCombs in the chat. Much love to you. Also, we have a guest in the chat, Migu196. I'm actually going to shout him out in this decode. I'm glad he's here. He kind of spurred me into this decode, and I'm glad he's here because, yeah, I mean, he kind of inspired this. So I'm glad he's in the live stream chat. If you guys don't know who this is, he goes by Gematria Book on YouTube. If you want to drop your link in the chat, brother, that's always welcome so that people can find you. I also have you on one of my slides, but definitely a channel to go check out for sure. Gematria Book is the name of the channel. And yeah, this is his channel here. He's also this is his username, Migu196. So, all right, we got 93 in the chat. And thank you, Mr. S, for being here as well. Snake Eyes, how are you doing? Apache Ghost, Tin Rose, or however you say that, Tillin Rose. Hope you guys are all well. Let's start getting into this. I'm going to take myself off the screen here so you guys can see better. Take the comment down. All right. All right, so let's, where do I want to start here? Let's just start with, I kind of gave the overview of what we're going to talk about, but it gets deeper. It's pretty clear. I mean, all this stuff is pretty clear, and hopefully it comes together and it's understandable. But let's just start with the basic events that we're going to cover here in this decode. Basically 4 or 5 different events that happened in the last week. If you count the Super Bowl, we could count like 5 or 6 events that have happened since the Super Bowl. And Of course, the first one was the Super Bowl. You guys know that was on February 8th. The Seahawks won the Super Bowl. Okay. And then on the 11th, on the 10th, should I say, on February 10th, we had the one of the worst shootings in the history of Canada, and that was in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia. Of course, this should make sense to you all because British Columbia, we're going to talk about the British monarchy. And of course, who is actually still the king of Canada? It's King Charles. So we're going to talk about that. We had the shooting at Tumbler Ridge by a person named Vancellar, however you say that. The next day, we had the death of two celebrities. Okay. And that was on February 11th. That's the Vatican's birthday. So don't leave the Vatican completely out of this. But I'm not going to focus again on the Vatican, but this was on the Vatican's birthday. So Bud Cort, okay, and I don't know who this guy is before he died, but the reason we're going to talk about Bud Cort, and you guys might be like, who's Bud Cort? Well, Bud Cort actually played Sirius Leary in the very well-known movie for decoders called The Number 23. And if you guys know how much I've talked about the dog star Sirius, yeah, he was also in Dogma. So the dog star, guys, I mean, he played Sirius Leary, and he played in the show Dogma. Shout out to Ball Don't Lie over at AJ over at Ball Don't Lie, who I do my Tuesday shows with. He had been talking about the movie Dogma a couple weeks ago. And somebody in the chat says 329 is a serious date. Yeah, I believe so. I have to remember what that is exactly, but anyway, we're not going to talk about Sirius really here, actually. Surprisingly, guys, there's a serious connection, but I'm not going to focus on it here. But yeah, Bud Cort played Sirius Leary in The Number 23, which featured a Canadian actor named Jim Carrey, right? Canadian. All right. And then on the same day that Bud Cort died and James Vanderbeek died, Prince William was in Saudi Arabia visiting the Crown Prince. Now, the Crown Prince, like they're going to crown the prince the king, right? Like you're crowning the prince the king at some point. Prince William will eventually, most likely, be crowned the king. So he's meeting the Crown Prince in Saudi Arabia on the Vatican's birthday and on the death of Bud Cort and James Vanderbeek. Now, here's what's crazy is James Vanderbeek played in Dawson's Creek, and he played the character Dawson Leary. Are you coding me, folks? The two guys that died on the same day, February 11th, they both played a character named Leary. And in my opinion, you could say Leary as in something is Leary, but I think this connects to King Lear, because we're going to talk a lot about king stuff here. But if you guys don't know what King Lear is, so King Lear is a tragedy by who? William. James Vanderbeek played Dawson Leary. He died the same day as Bud Cort, who played Sirius Leary. And again, King Lear is a William Shakespeare play. So there you got your William connection already. Remember, I said William was in Saudi Arabia on this day, meeting with the Crown Prince. Okay, so King Lear, Leary, and not only do they have the connection, but they both played Leary. What's up to my brother KC Golfing in the chat, Kevin? Good to see you in here, brother. He says smash the like buttons. Yes, guys, if don't forget to smash those like buttons if you guys find the content interesting. We're just getting started here. The other connection between Bud Cort and James Vanderbeek, besides they played a Leary character, they both have a connection to Connecticut. In fact, Bud Cort died in Connecticut, and James Vanderbeek was born in Connecticut. So Connecticut, well, where is Skull and Bones? Where is Skull and Bones located? Well, that would be Connecticut. Okay, and just in case you guys want to see all the Skull and Bones connections to this stories, head on over to Gematrinator blog, and he's broken down the whole connection. That's where I got this picture from. So shout out to him. We kind of worked on this decode together, but make sure you guys go check out his blog or his video on his YouTube. Yeah, Connecticut is in New England, right? Thank you for that addition. Remember, Seattle beat New England, and this is all about a new king of England. Okay, I'm going to show you how that's clearly what this is. But again, for the Skull and Bones connections, go over to the guy who talks about the Skull and Bones numbers all the time, his blog. Don't forget to check him out, okay? Gematrinator.com/blog. Okay, so now that again, we might talk more about the Skull and Bones thing, but the point is the King connection, the King Lear, Sirius Leary, okay? But let's set the stage for these incidents, okay? So we got 3 incidents are within 24 hours. First one was the Super Bowl parade. Well, no, actually the first one was the shooting in Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia, okay? Tumbler Ridge, British Columbia. Now, I showed you in my last video, guys. I'm pretty sure, not that it matters who found this, but I'm pretty sure that I found this and I shared it. And again, this was a big part of this whole stuff that went on, because Tumbler Ridge, where the shooting took place, was a mere 50 miles, like direct, without driving. I mean, when I'm talking about 50 miles, I'm talking about like if you measure from point to point on the map without driving, it's about 50 miles from Dawson Creek, British Columbia. Okay. And then the same day, or within 24 hours of this shooting near Dawson Creek, you had the death of the main star from Dawson's Creek. Okay. Now we found out that the shooter for the Tumbler Ridge shooting was Jesse Van Rootselaar. And guys, I mean, the guy who died, James Van Der Beek, Jesse Van, James Van, JV, kind of like junior varsity, kind of could remind you of like the varsity stuff because James Van Der Beek was in Varsity Blues. But yeah, James Van Der Beek and Jesse Van Rootselaar, these things are clearly connected by one common theme, and that is they are both Dutch, clearly Dutch names. Okay. In fact, Vanderbeek means in a creek in Dutch. So again, interesting that he played in Dawson's Creek and his last name means from a creek in Dutch. But again, what are the odds, folks? I want you guys to tell me in the chat, how many times have I talked about a Dutch person on this channel? Because I can guarantee you that you guys only need one hand. In fact, you don't even need any hands to count how many times I've talked about something Dutch on this channel. And the fact that in one day, we had 2 Dutch things go on. We had the shooter who was Dutch, his name is of Dutch origin. And then you had the most famous actor that I can think of in the United States that has a Dutch name is James Van Der Beek. Because I can't think of any other person that's clearly a Dutch name. Okay. And I've never talked any time on this channel about anything Dutch. Not once. Again, you guys can go back through my whole channel. Not one time have I talked about a Dutch person. Okay. So on this day, we had these 2 Dutch things. And I'm going to show you why the Dutch is so important to this king riddle with William and Charles, and why the Duchess so matters, okay? But I'll get to that in a minute. But the same day you had the shooting just south of British Columbia, you had the Super Bowl parade in King County where the Seahawks play. Okay, so here's your clues. The Seahawks in King County, just north of King County in Canada, you get British Columbia. So you have British Columbia and King County both in the spotlight. King, like the phrase a British king, okay? Who's the current British king? King Charles. Who's the king of Canada where this happened? King Charles. So you can't tell me that this isn't, you know, this, you can't tell me that this is not connected to King Charles, okay? And again, James Van Der Beek, best known for Dawson's Creek. The shooting happened near Dawson Creek, right? But shout out to, again, Migo196 in the chat, who goes by Gematria Book on YouTube. Check what he found out before February 11th. So I just told you the events that happened on February 10th and February 11th. But before that, after the Super Bowl was over, Gematria Book made a decode post video on his channel, and he posted this, guys. Let's go through this because this is so clear. Again, this is all his info, not mine. The game before the coronation, he titled it. Why is it the game before the coronation? Well, the New England Patriots faced the Seahawks, who come from Seattle, King County, because Seattle equals 19 and 82 in Gematria. Okay, now who's born in 1982? Well, that would be William, Prince of Wales, who will become the next king. So the king from the guy who's going to become the next king, born in 1982, Seattle's from King County, which equals Seattle equals 19 and 82. But it gets better than that, folks, because Seattle used to play in the stadium called the Kingdome. And the Kingdome opened 2,277 days before Prince William was born, okay? So the Kingdome opened 2,277 days before he was born. Now look how old William was on the Super Bowl featuring the team from King County, the Seahawks. He was exactly, or I don't know if he was exactly, he was 2277 weeks old. Guys, what are the odds? What are the odds that the Kingdome opened 227 days before he was born, and then the Seahawks win the Super Bowl 2277 weeks after he was born? So, but check this out. This is the big one. So then he did this video before February 11th, and he said, we'll see if there's any major Prince William news on February 11th or 12th. Well, what was the news on February 11th or 12th? Prince William was in Saudi Arabia. Okay? Let me just make this bigger. Prince William was in Saudi Arabia on the 11th, on the same day that these two actors died. Okay? These James Van Der Beek and Bud Cort both died. Okay? But look how old Prince William was on on February 11th when he was in Saudi Arabia, and the death of these two actors. He was 43. Oh, I forgot to mention, on this day, February 11th, was the Seattle Seahawks Super Bowl parade celebrating a victory. You guys get it? They're celebrating in King County a victory. And look how old Prince William was on the Super Bowl parade of the Seattle Seahawks. He was 43 years, 236 days old. And look at the dang gematria of Seattle Seahawks, folks. 43 and 236. Mic drop. Guys, go over and sub to the channel Gematria book. Again, this is the kind of stuff that he really, in my mind, he always finds this crazy stuff like this. And again, give him a mind blown in the chat, guys. He found this, not me. What are the odds, folks, that King William, or I'm getting ahead of myself, he's not king yet. Prince William, what do you mean I stole this info? How could you even say that? What the hell are you talking about? Decoding reality? How is this even stealing? First of all, information is free. Second of all, I always give shout outs when shout outs are due. What info did I steal? His channel is really literally right there on the freaking screen. How is that stealing? I'm telling you to go to his channel. Like, it makes no sense. Everyone's just trying to always cause trouble in these communities. Stop trying to make everything about fighting and get along, man. You almost made me want to cuss for a second. Stop trying to cause shit, man. Stop trying to get people against each other all the time. This is not what we're trying to do here. I'm sorry I'm getting off track from the decode, but I'm tired of people always trying to cause shit. And people in the chat always trying to cause something. And my chat normally is not full of that. I appreciate that most of you guys are not. So anyways, Prince William was 43 years, 236 days on the Seahawks Super Bowl parade, Seattle Seahawks 43-263. Okay? So I took his info that he I took his info. I didn't take it. Again, I'm using it to expand the knowledge. We're working together here. Okay, so what I did is I said, okay, let me look into Prince William. I've already been looking into Prince William before this, but let me see more connections. So this is what I found. So remember, we had a Dutch actor die, James Van Der Beek, and we had a shooter in British Columbia with a Dutch last name. Now check this out. If William becomes king, he's the eldest son of King Charles III and the heir apparent to the British throne, British Columbia, where all this happened. As of 2026, he is not yet king, but is expected to reign as King William V. Now, what if I told you guys that this is all connected to King William V, but not this one, the other King William V? And where was he from? Give you one guess. Well, it's right there on the screen. William V, also known as Prince of Orange, was from Dutch Republic. Are you coding me? This is the key right here, guys. William V was a Dutch king. So why do you think we had a Dutch theme when William was 43 years, 236 days old, which is the gematria of Seattle Seahawks, again, who come from King County, who used to play in the Kingdome? But it gets even better, guys, because the Dutch guy, or the guy with the Dutch last name, James Van Der Beek, who died on the day William was, look at this. Oh, sorry. Before we get to that. So the two guys that died on that day were Bud Cort and James Van Der Beek. What if I told you that Bud Cort, not only did he play in the number 23, which we're going to talk about, this is going to be all about the number 23 and 32. We're going to talk about that. But look at what he played, guys, in a French movie, the Le Petit Prince, which is called The Little Prince. Think about it. Prince William, the movie's called The Little Prince. Look at the character that Bud Cort played in The Little Prince. Yeah, guys, he voiced the king. And again, he died the same day as James Van Der Beek. And James Van Der Beek is Dutch, his last name. And the Dutch king, William V, is Dutch. And if William becomes king, this Prince William, the current one, he will be William V. But look at this, guys. Look at this. William V of Orange, from Netherlands. He was born on the same day as James Van Der Beek. Like when I saw this, I was like, "Are you kidding me? This is why we had the Dutch. This is why James Van Der Beek was the one who had to go on this day, even if he went or not. It doesn't matter. This is why, guys. They have the same birthday." And not only do they have the same birthday, they're born 229 years apart. Well, the guy that died the same day as James Van Der Beek, his name was Walter Edward Cox, which equals 229. He played the king in the movie called The Little Prince, which equals 229. What are the odds? Now, here's where we got to start going to the 23 connection. Remember, the key here was Bud Cort, the guy who died the same day as James Van Der Beek. This is the key. You got to have all the pieces to put the puzzle together. So once I had William the Orange, right? It was a tribute to William V of Dutch. Because again, they had the same birthday. And I just told you how this whole thing was connected to William, the current William. So, but look at this. The Little Prince, 229. He played in, again, Bud Cort died the same day as James Van Der Beek. Walter Edward Cox was his real name. Okay. But look at this. So 229 years apart, right? From William V and James Van Der Beek. 229 years is essentially the start of the 230th year. Why is that? Let me just read this. When exactly 229 years have passed since an event, you have completed 229th year. Therefore, the very next moment, the start of the next day or the year, marks the beginning of the 230th year. Now, this is so key, guys. This is where we're going to transition to the key point of this whole decode. These two guys, James Van Der Beek was essentially born on the start of the 230th year of William V's life, if he was still living, of course. He's not living. But this is so important, folks. The 23, okay? The 230. Because 230 is with a zero, you drop the zero, you get 23, right? But what did Bud Cort play? Not only did he play in The Little Prince, he played in the movie 23, okay? This is your key. You got to have all the pieces, all right? Now, remember, he played in the movie 23, and he played in the movie The Little Prince, and in the movie The Little Prince, he played the king, and in Gematria, the word king equals 23. But here's where it gets absolutely ridiculous, folks. The name of the movie he played in, if you use the capital letter cipher and you use the French title of the movie he played in as the king, look at what it sums to. Le Petit Prince equals 230. Again, how many years was it between William V and James Van Der Beek's births? 230. Van Der Beek was born in the start of the 230th year of William V. And you're telling me that the guy who died the same day played in a movie called the Petit Prince, which equals 230? Now, but then that's 23, right? Like he played King, which is 23, like he was in the movie number 23. But here's the mic drop moment. Because now, Bud Cort, right? Guys, how many days before King Charles do you think Bud Cort was born? This next slide is so undeniable. I don't see how anyone can deny this stuff. Like I said, how many days? But before we get to that, I'm going to answer that in a minute. King Charles III is the head of Canada still, the Commonwealth. But remember, the shooting happened in BC, kind of like before Christ. There's a huge, of course, guys, there's a huge Jesus riddle here. Jesus Christ, Christ equals 32, the reverse of 23. Sirius equals 32. Again, I'm not focusing on the Jesus riddle. I could do a whole Jesus riddle, but I'm not focusing on that right now. But again, think about this. BC is 23, like the number 23, the initials, right? Well, who died? Bud Court, BC. Okay. No, here it is, guys. 230. Remember, 230 years. Okay. The name of the movie, Le Petit Prince, 230. Look at this, folks. Bud Court was literally born 230 days before the King of the United Kingdom, which in Francis Bacon Gematria equals 230. Again, who did he play? He played the king in the movie called Le Petit Prince, which equals 230. And you're telling me he was born 230 days before the king of British Columbia. This is so obvious, guys. I don't know when King Charles is going to kick the bucket, but whatever he does this day, these days, we have to come back to and connect to that, because this is obviously all about him passing. What did James Van Der Beek pass from? Cancer. What does King Charles supposedly have? Cancer. And what's the odds that King of the United Kingdom equals 230, folks? He's born 230 days before him. Again, I don't even really need any more slides at this point. Again, how many years was James Van Der Beek born? Essentially after William V, which will become the new king. This, essentially he's born at the beginning of the 230th year of William V of Dutch. This is why they had the Dutch stuff going on. This is why they had the King County stuff going on in Seattle. It's all the same theme, okay? Now, how about this? I just showed you King of the United Kingdom equals 230 in Bacon Gematria. Now, what do you think that Tumbler Ridge shooting, which happened the same day as within 24 hours in British Columbia? Look at what happens if you type in Tumbler Ridge shooting. 230 in the same cipher as King of the United Kingdom. And again, Bud Court, born 230 days before. Yeah, Kevin, 83 is the 23rd prime. Yeah, I'm going to get to that. I have that later in. But wow, are you kidding me? In the same cipher, Tumbler Ridge shooting, 233 or 230. I mean, that's my next slide, actually. Now, let me put all these pieces together, okay? So I just revealed to you the importance of the 230, right? 230 days is what separates these two guys. Again, Bud Court played the king. That's important to remember. So if you type out the number 230, right? We found out how important that number is. If you type it out in Gematria, it equals 83. Okay, well, what's 83? 83 is the 23rd prime number. Again, going back to our 23 stuff. Remember, Bud Court was in the movie, the number 23. Now, in Gematria, Bud Court equals 83, the 23rd prime. He played the king in The Little Prince. King equals 23. James Van Der Beek was born in Netherlands and United Kingdom. They write the date that James Van Der Beek was born and the date that William V, Prince of Orange, was born. They write that date 8-3. Guys, 8-3 is the 23rd prime number. Now, if you change the date around, and in the United States, we write the date March 8th as 3-8 instead of 8-3. Well, that's the murder code, right? Murder equals 83 and 38. Death equals 38. So, of course, that connects to the death. But look at this. If William was to become William V, it equals 38, which is the birthday of William V, Prince of Orange, which is the birthday of James Van Der Beek. I mean, what the heck? And he's currently the prince, which equals 38. And again, if he becomes William V, it equals 38. But not only that, if you type in new king, it equals 83 and 38. So why do you think James Vanderbeek's birthday is 83 or 38? Why do you think William V's Prince of Orange's birthday is 83 or 38? James Vanderbeek died, right? Death equals 38. Okay. What are the chances? New king equals, and you know what's interesting about this is we just had Drake May. We just had Drake May lose to King County. Drake May, 83-38. Is William going to become king sometime in May? Possible. But remember, Drake is a dragon, and what's on the flag of the country that Prince William is the head of? Oh yeah, it's the dragon, folks. The Prince of Wales has the dragon on their flag. We had Drake May. Remember, King Charles was the original Prince of Wales, and now he's the king, right? So again, Drake May, he has the same gematria, right? So does football. Football equals 83. We just had the football game, right? Bad Bunny was the performer, equals 83. Again, murder, 83-38. Death, 38. Killing, 38. Lucifer, 38. You guys get the point, right? 83-38. So isn't that crazy that when you type in 230, which is the number I centered this whole decode around, 230, you type it out, it equals 83. 83 is the 23rd prime. That connects us back to the birthday of James Vanderbeek, the gematria of Bud Cort, who played in the movie 23. Remember, Jim Carrey is from Canada. He's not from British Columbia, but he's from Canada. So he's still from the same country that King Charles is currently ruling. And if King Charles would die, William would essentially be Jim Carrey's monarch. Because, again, Jim Carrey's from Canada. You see how it all works, guys? Jim Carrey, who's in the number 23, king equals 23. But how about this? This is also perfect. So the number 276 is the 23rd triangular number. We're going to go right back to the 23s. So 276, right? From the death of Bud Cort and James Vanderbeek, 276 days is King Charles' birthday, folks. And again, 276 is the 23rd triangular. King equals 23. But it gets even better. Look how many weeks exactly James Vanderbeek was born before Prince William. Exactly 276 weeks. So you guys see how it all goes back to 23? Forget all the other numbers. All these numbers go back to the 23 and the 32. In the movie The Number 23, Jim Carrey teaches you gematria, and he tells you that you can even reverse the number. He even talks about how the number 32 is connected to the number 23, and we're going to talk a little bit about the number 32 because it is the reverse of 23. But the main point here is that what are the odds? The guy who played in number 23 died 276. He played the king in the Little Prince movie, and he played in the number 23, and he died 276 days before King Charles' birthday, okay, which is the 23rd triangular. And again, Vanderbeek being born exactly 276 weeks before Prince William is mind-blowing because that's, again, back to the 23. But here's kind of what really brings it all together. Look at this. King of England equals 232, right? So in this number, you have 23 and 32 in one number. These are the two numbers we're focusing on. Look at the time span between Bud Cort and Prince William. 2 months, 3 weeks. So after his birthday, after Bud Court's birthday, William was born 2 months, 3 weeks, and 2 days after Bud Court's birthday. 232, like King of England, 232. But look at this. How many days was the Super Bowl after Prince William's birthday? 232. King of England, 232. And again, how did we start this decode? And again, shout out to Gematria book. Prince William, born in 1982. Seattle equals 19 and 82. They used to play in the Kingdome. The Kingdome opened 2277 days before Prince William was born, and the Super Bowl was 2277 weeks after he was born. And again, on the date of on the date of him being in Saudi Arabia, of the death of Bud Cort, the death of James Van Der Beek, and the celebration of Seattle's parade on February 11th, it was 43 years, 236 days, which is the gematria of Seattle Seahawks. That's how old Prince William was. And that was also 232 days after Prince William's birthday, which is the gematria of King of England. Guys, Seattle from King County beat New England in the Super Bowl 232 days after Prince William's birthday, signifying that King William will be a reality. Okay, how can, again, if this doesn't happen, I will be shocked. I mean, there's always a possibility that something else happens, but I will be absolutely shocked if this doesn't happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen today. I'm not going to say it's going to happen tomorrow. Who knows when it's going to actually happen? But you guys heard it here, and you guys heard it from Gematria book, that this football game, in fact, I can't think of anything else it was connected to more than this. If anyone in the chat can tell me any narrative that this Super Bowl was connected to more than King William, I challenge you to tell me, because what I've showed you in this decode proves that this whole thing with King County winning and with the British Columbia stuff the next days, it was all about this narrative of the new king. All right? This is why Bud Cort died on the same day as James Van Der Beek, which connects us to the Dutch king, William V, which is what William will be when he becomes king. Like, this is the key piece right here. William V, the Dutch Republic, okay? This is why you had a Dutch shooter in British Columbia. It connects us to William V of the Dutch Republic. And again, just all the 23s, right? Another interesting fact, if we flip that number around and we go 320, right? 320, I was talking a lot so far about the 230. Well, 320 is the reverse. Again, in the number 23 movie, they teach you gematria and they show you can flip the number. So 2332, right? Well, look how old King Charles is right now, guys. He's 320 Mercury years. He's in his 320th Mercury year. Remember, a Mercury year is 88 days. It's the planet Mercury, takes 88 days, 87 point something, okay? But look at this. British Columbia equals 320 in capitals, and death of King Charles, 320. Now, what if I told you that King Charles has a huge connection to the number 320, not only because death of King Charles equals 320, but look at what brown lunation he was born in. And that's the moon, guys. Why is the moon important? The moon rules Cancer. Charles has cancer. James Van Der Beek died of cancer. A few days before that, the singer of Three Doors Down died of cancer. Who's the third? Who's the three? Charles III. This is why the Three Doors Down guy died of cancer a few days before James Van Der Beek, because it was all about the King Charles III. Three Doors Down. You get it? But King Charles was born in brown lunation 320. And British Columbia equals 320. Death of King Charles, 320. He's currently in his 320th Mercury year. He has cancer. Cancer ruled by the moon. A brown lunation is all about the measurement of the moon. In fact, here's the nail clincher right here. Let's bring all this together. King Charles has Cancer. Prince William is born in the sign of Cancer. And James Van Der Beek died of cancer. And James Van Der Beek and Bud Cort, who played the king, died 26 days before the birthday of William V of Orange and James Van Der Beek's birthday on 3/8. How many days? 26 days. What's the gematria of Cancer, folks? 26. Yeah, and Kate had cancer as well. Catherine, who died just a few days before the guy from Three Doors Down? Catherine O'Hara. You see how this has all been a riddle for Prince William and King Charles? Catherine O'Hara dies. That's the wife. Guys, I have 230 in the chat. Look at this. See, every time I do a stream and it's a number I'm talking about, it comes up in the chat. It's just wild. But yeah, what's the odds? Cancer equals 26. We're in the year 26. James Van Der Beek dies 26 days. He dies of cancer 26 days before his birthday, which is also the birthday of William V. Okay, Prince William, who's going to be William V, is born in the sign of Cancer. His dad has cancer, supposedly. His wife also had cancer, and the guy who died had cancer. Okay, so also the word crown. Let's go over the 26s real fast. Not only does cancer equal 26, the word crown equals 26. The word royal equals 26. And queen equals 26. Oh, look at that, guys. Queen equals 320. That's interesting. I just told you King Charles was born to the queen in lunation 320. And in Gematria, queen equals 320. And again, Charles is currently in his 320th Mercury year since he was born to the queen, which equals 320. And again, he's born in 320. British Columbia equals 320. Again, this is just another variation of the 232s. And you could also tie this into the skull and bones, right? Because 322, 223, 232, 230, 320. All these things are so important, and they're all variations. Okay, so all these things could be connected. Now, what was I going to say? Okay, so James Van Der Beek died at 48 years old. Well, 223 is the 48th prime number. He died at 48. Skull and crossbones. Whoops. Skull and crossbones, 223. Again, that's the 48th prime. The next United States president will be the 48th. Don't forget that. That 48 is huge. What else was I going to say here? Oh, yeah. And King Charles was born in 1948, and so was Bud Cort. Bud Cort's born in 1948. Again, if you guys are just getting in, you guys might be saying, who's Bud Cort? Please hit the like buttons, guys. Go back and watch, and if you guys enjoy the content, don't forget to smash those likes. But yeah, Bud, if you guys are just getting in and like, who's Bud Cort? Because a lot of people probably don't know who that is. You guys got to go watch from the beginning. Because I laid it all out for you. And again, if this isn't the main reason for all these events, I don't know what to tell anyone. I mean, you could come up with other riddles, but tell me a riddle that's more solid and more connected to all these events than this King Charles, King William riddle. And especially because King William, or I keep calling him King William, but Prince William was in Saudi Arabia on this day of these deaths on the day, essentially, of this shooting in British Columbia. And again, we found out that this all connects through King William V of the Dutch Republic, which is why you had all the Dutch stuff going on. And again, this is also why right now you have let's just go over some of Derek's stuff here. This was also connected to George Washington and Hitler. It was connected to George Washington and Hitler. You guys got to go check out his post. It's on point. And don't forget, we're still in Lunation 985, or Trump is still 985 lunations old, which is the Gematria of Jesus. Okay. So I can't forget about Donald Trump. Remember, last year there was no King's Day. No King's Day was on Trump's birthday. All right. So, but also the day of No King's Day on Trump's birthday was also the day they celebrated King Charles' official birthday, which they do every year in June. Well, they happen to celebrate No King's Day on King Charles' birthday, on his official birthday, which isn't his real birthday. But again, remember, this is so big, guys. These No Kings things will be a huge connection to whenever King Charles goes, whenever maybe even Donald Trump goes. This could all connect to Donald Trump getting taken out. I don't know. Yeah, in fact, it probably does have some sort of connection with Donald Trump, being that he is the symbol of the he is Israel's king, right? He is the I'm not saying he really is a king, but he's propped up as some sort of Messiah, which he's not really, of course, but this is kind of the point of the king stuff. Also, the number 23, I would recommend watching this movie. This movie actually came out on the 23rd. In fact, if you write the date of the movie, February 23rd, right? It's 223, right? I just talked to you about the 223. But if you write the date 223, or you could write the date 232. And what number did I just end with? I just ended with the fact that the Super Bowl won by King County over New England was 232 days after Prince William's birthday, which is the Gematria of King of England, 232. And again, the number 23 came out on 232. In England, it came out on 232. So there's probably more to this. Wait a minute. Hold on. Guys, this is big. I just noticed something. Also, why am I doing this stream today about King Charles? Before I get to this, why am I doing this stream today about King Charles? Well, King Charles actually turns a very interesting months old today. Notice how King Charles turns 927 months old today, right? This is the birthday of the Jesuit order. Now, this also connects to George V. Remember, I connected this to, so get this, guy. This is actually pretty crazy. And I'll get to the chat in a minute. I know there's a lot of people in the chat commenting things, and I'm not trying to ignore you guys, but I really want to finish this last point. So this all connects to George V. Okay, remember we talked about William V. So this all seems to connect with the number 5. William V connects to this, right, from Dutch, but in the English lineage, you have, again, George V. Now, George V was the grandfather of Queen Elizabeth. Right? So, yeah. So George the Fifth. Remember, this connects to George Washington, like George Bush. Yeah. Um, all this that happened was connected to Washington. So the George stuff is important because also the son of Prince William is named George. But George the Fifth, okay, he he died on January 20th, 1936. So, guys, when was the first episode of Dawson's Creek? Remember, Dawson's Creek connects to all this. But I got to remember this because on the date 223, Prince William's going to be super interesting gematria. So I got to come back to this. But so if you go from George V's death to Dawson Creek, the day it aired, it's exactly 62 years. Okay, so January 20th, 1936 to January 20th, 1998, the premiere of Dawson's Creek was on the 62nd death anniversary of George V. Why is that important? Well, George V is the great-granddad of King Charles. Well, check out this wildness. If you go from the death of George V to today, Valentine's Day, it's exactly 1114 moons. That's why I thought today could possibly have, if anyone caught any news did anyone catch any news stories today that might be connected to this? Let me know, okay? Because today is a super important day, and this is why. George V, the great-grandfather of King Charles, died exactly 1114 moons ago. Guys, what's the birthday of King Charles? Can anyone in the chat tell me how mind-blowing this is? What's the birthday of King Charles? It's that, guys. It's 1114. That's his birthday. So from King George V, his death to today is King Charles' birthday in moons. And again, moon is ruled Cancer. King Charles supposedly has cancer. So yeah, this is all about the moon. You gotta measure with the moon, folks. You can't ignore the moon measurements. So 1114. I mean, that's just wild to me. That today, the day I do this video, and why is George V so important to this? Again, he's the fifth. Like King William will be the next. He'll be the fifth, right? And again, he died on January 20th, which is the same day in history that that Dawson's Creek started, which is again connected to all this. But also, I believe that he started the House of Windsor. Correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Yeah, King George V started the House of Windsor. So from the start of the guy who started the House of Windsor to today, from his death to today, is 1114 moons, and that's the birthday of the current head of the House of Windsor on Valentine's Day, right? So I was kind of thinking, do we get a story with King Charles today? But if you type it in and King Charles news, King Charles ex-butler issues warning on big mistake after royal's unusual dinner. I don't know what that's about, but Prince William's row with King Charles over Andrew. Yeah, so there's a big thing going on with Andrew, right? But yeah, I guess William wanted Andrew banished and rode with King Charles over stained royal family. And just so you guys know, royal family equals 137, 56. This is like all seeing eye equals 56, the Jesuit order 56, Eye of Horus 56, mind control 56. I mean, that's a huge number. Royal family 137. That's the 33rd prime. But notice how the shooter's nickname in British Columbia was Jesse Strange, which equals 137. Remember, Lady Gaga performed Die with a Smile at the Super Bowl, which also equals 137. But look at this, Dawson's Creek equals 137, like royal family. So again, this is just extra on top of what I already showed, which this is just more speculative of how this could connect, but the other stuff was solid. This is just extra additions that could be interesting, right? Dawson's Creek equals royal family. Um, trying to think if there's any other numbers that I should touch on. I should probably go to the chat. Let's go to the chat first. I'm sure you guys have something in there um, that is pertinent. Yeah, Jesse Strange, like Stranger Things. Yeah, we still have a Stranger Things riddle going on for sure. Because who was the main character this past year in the final season of Stranger Things? It was William Byers. William. Again, I told you how this goes back to William Shakespeare. We're talking about William Shakespeare, his in his just all his lore that follows him. 7-1's in the chat. Make sure you guys go subscribe to 7-1. He says, I'm king of the world. Leo Caprio in Titanic. Yeah. Yeah, and that probably connects to Leo. Yes, January 20th is also Epstein's birthday. So let's see. Just checking out the chats. Oh, we got Zach's in the chat again. Well, what's up, Zach? I'm not gonna argue with you. Your version of a good decode is tying it to the Jesuits, which it always is, but I'm trying to take it. I'm just trying to tell you that King Charles is on the chopping block, and it's pretty clear. So that's more fun to me than telling, and it's not really about being fun either. It's about showing what's really going on. So, like, say what you want. Yes, and I wanted to say this: the royal family, their original. If you go back to King William or King, if you go back to the House of Windsor, it comes from the House of Saxe, Coburg, and Gotha, which is the German family. Again, we know. I personally think that the Germans, everything kind of goes back to a German thing. That's just my opinion. But which is really the Roman Empire, the Holy Roman Empire. But yeah, the house, they come from this house, right? And in fact, if you read about it, they actually changed. They definitely changed their name from House of Saxe Coburg to Windsor just to hide the German connection, supposedly, if you read about it. So, and remember, I talked about how Trump's mother is recently Mother Mary, right? How Trump's Mother Mary connection with the Jesuits. And Zach, I don't know if you saw that decode, but did you see my 136 decode and how the Jesuits are all tied to the eclipse code of 136? Again, these things are much deeper than just surface level things. I get you just want to show the surface level, but again, why did we have a Dutch shooter and a Dutch actor die on the day that Prince William was in Saudi Arabia with the crown prince when King William will be the fifth, like the famous Dutch king William the Fifth. And just so happens that James Vanderbeek is born on the same day as William the Fifth. Okay, I mean, and he's got a Dutch name, and of course, William the Fifth, Prince of Orange, was from the Dutch Republic. And again, the 230 years, the start of the 230th year, which is the Gematria of the movie of the guy who died the same day as James Vanderbeek, Bud Cort. He played the king, and he played Sirius Leary. I mean, Zach, did you even cover Bud Cort? I don't know if Zach's still in here, but did you even cover Bud Cort and how he died the same day as James Vanderbeek, and Bud Cort played Sirius Leary, and James Vanderbeek played Dawson Leary? They both have a Connecticut connection, like Skull and Bones. And did you cover how Bud Cort was in the movie that equals 230 and played the king, and he was born 230 days before the current king of the United Kingdom, which equals 230 in Francis Bacon, which is a cipher I know that you don't use, but it's I've proven so many times this is a legitimate cipher, and so is Rambo. And thanks to Rambo for that cipher. Really, this is the big slide, guys. This is clearly why the King County Seahawks beat New England. It was all a riddle for the King Charles. Yeah, that's what I mean. They come from the German family. I that's what I just said. Somebody says they watched William in Saudi Arabia the past few days. I felt very much he actually already acting king, if I'm honest. Yeah. Yeah, again, I'm not much love to everyone, even Zach. Much love to him too. I'm not out here to hate on anyone. If they want to be haters, let them hate. I'm not going to return it. I'm trying to bring people together, not to make people feel like crap. Sorry. And I'm not trying to like sugarcoat things either. I'm not trying if I'm, if people need to know something, I'll tell them, and I'm not saying it's all about always being so nice and all that, but I'm just saying let's bring people together. Let's do it with like honesty. Dr. Savage in the house. Much love to you also, Dr. Savage. Appreciate that. Appreciate your encouraging words also. So let me kind of touch really fast on another aspect of this. Again, make sure you guys go check out Derek's blog. He talks about the skull and bones. In my last decode about this, I talked about how this connected with the World War connection. But there's some remarkable things in Derek's decode that I think you guys would want to see. So make sure you guys go check out his stuff. Again, the King Lear connection. I could probably do a whole separate decode on King Lear because this is clearly tied to that as well. There's some sort of theme here with King Lear, considering both those guys played. And just notice how King Lear equals Christ. Also equals 41, like Skull and Bones. But yeah, William Shakespeare, Will I Am. I always tell you guys this is one of the most important names in this reality, in my opinion, because it talks about the I am. It's the Will I Am. So in my opinion, it's a very important name. I'm not saying a name is more important than any other name, really, but William is a very symbolic name. That's why you got that artist called Will I Am. It's all about the I am that I am, or the I am what I will be, or whatever. Oh yeah, I forgot William Shakespeare equals 187. Notice how William Shakespeare equals Brotherhood of Death and George Washington. Oh, William Shakespeare equals Tumble Ridge shooting in 2 ciphers. Well, there you go. Yeah, the will of God. That's what I mean. That's why it's such an important aspect. I am will. Like God is will, right? It's his will. That's kind of like it's the overarching will of God, right? So I do find it super interesting that this King Lear stuff, you know. Another interesting a fact about William V of Orange. He died on April 9th. And who else died on April 9th? Well, that would be Prince Philip, the grandfather of Prince William. Also, you know what's another interesting thing? This movie, the number 23, Jim Carrey, from Jim Carrey's birthday this year on the 17th of January to the Super Bowl, 23 days. And notice how 23 days is 3 weeks and 2 days. Again, in the movie 23, he talks about the number 32 and he talks about the number 23. And so from the guy who stars in that movie, number 23, to the Super Bowl, where it was all about the king, which equals 23, it was 23 days. So is that a coincidence? I don't think so. Because, I mean, Jim Carrey is literally the face on the front of that movie. And I kind of had a hunch that today would be an interesting day just because check out the gematria of King William V, 142, like today's date. The movie, the number 23, 142. That famous phrase from the French, the king is dead, long live the king, equals 142. I mean, that's the main ones. There's other things I have here from my other stuff, but like these three things equaling 142, I just thought was super interesting. And another thing that I saw in the calculator is that if you multiply 142 times the golden ratio, look at what you get, guys. I don't know if this is a technique that anyone else has used, but if you take a number and you multiply it by the golden ratio, 1.618, you get 230. So here I am on 14/2 talking about the number 230. And if you multiply that times the golden ratio, you get a rounded off number of about 230. And again, that famous phrase, long live the king is dead, long live the king, 142. Also, today, Bud Cort, if he was still alive, 77 years, 322 days old today. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. William Henry Gates. That's also another connection. William Henry Gates. I mean, this is the Seattle connection to that William theme. Yeah, so William Henry Gates. And remember, William Henry Gates is married or is a childhood friend of Paul Allen. And of course, Paul Allen, he died on the day the Pope got the white horse this year. But Paul Allen is married to Jody Allen. No, that's his sister, sorry. His sister is Jody Allen. And who owns the Seattle Seahawks? Well, that would be Jody Allen. So, and check this out, guys. Did anyone else ever catch that the owner of the Seattle Seahawks was born on the same exact day, the day the music died? Look at this. February 3rd, 1959. And look at the birthday of the Seattle Seahawks owner. February 3rd, 1959. I mean, this is a decode in itself. Can I get some mind blowns in the chat? I mean, that's pretty scary, folks. Actually, for this year, the Seahawks just won the Super Bowl with an owner who's born on the exact same day as the famous plane crash, the day the music died. Exact same day. So this is why I'm like, I'm gonna probably have a whole decode about this because did anyone catch this? If you did any of the great decoders ever catch this, or am I the first one to notice this? I can't be the first one to notice. I don't want to take credit, but that's pretty wild. It's the exact same day. So, anyways, if you think that the Seahawks winning the Super Bowl is tied to a plane crash, well, it definitely is. Is someone going to die in a plane crash this year? Because, I mean, yes, last year was the year of plane crashes. We know that. But, I mean, are we going to have another plane crash connected to this woman? Jody Allen. Reminds me of Josh Allen. I mean, Jolyn Allen equals this 134, which I don't want to get into that, but that's a big number. Oh, yeah, that's right. Jody Allen equals Catholic in 3 out of 4 ciphers. But notice how Jody Allen also equals 9/8. Well, that's the day that King Charles became king. 9/8. So yeah, there's some interesting points, but Paul Allen's music, Zach actually dropping great info instead of picking on people. Paul Allen, big music guy, his music museum was originally called EMP. Wow. Okay. Considering I just talked about the well, funny enough, this connects to Elvis. Okay, so here's another mind-blowing fact, okay? So I just told you Jody Allen's born on the day that the day the music died plane crash with the musicians, right? Well, Elvis, the king of music, of rock and roll, has that connection to Seattle. He did that movie. Again, shout out to Jurassic Liars. This is all his info. Elvis did that movie. It happens at the World Fair. Right? Again, Jurassic Liars pioneered this info. It happened at the World's Fair. Right? His name is literally knocking over the Space Needle. So how many days did Elvis live? Let me just show you this. And remember, Dawson Creek, he just died. He was born in 1977. Like Elvis died that year. So this is how many days Elvis lived, okay? Let me just build a slide for you right now and show you how pretty interesting this is. So Elvis, he lived a total of 15,561 days. which is like 2, 2, 2, 3 weeks, by the way. So Elvis lived exactly 2, 2, 2, 3 weeks. Like Skull and Bones looks like a Skull and Bones number. But check how old Jody Allen was and how old the day the music died was. February 3rd. To how old it was on 9/11. Look at this. Oh, would you look at that? It's the same amount of days. So let me get Jody Allen here. I'm actually building a slide on Alive. So the day the music died. Now you got 9/11. Okay, so let me know if you guys are confused by this, but that is crazy. Okay. Remember, Elvis had a twin, the Twin Towers, right? Elvis connected to the musicians. The day the music died, Elvis, the famous musician, Jody Allen of the Seahawks, born the same day as the day the music died. If you go, how old was Jody Allen and the day the music died on September 11, 2001? It was 15,561 days. And Elvis lived 15,561 days. I mean, come on, guys. This is the start of a whole. If anyone wants to take this information and expand upon this just right here, be my guest, because I think this is huge, you know. And again, shout out to Jurassic Liars, because the importance of Elvis Presley cannot be lost. Again. So, what do you think, guys? Does anyone have anything else to say about that? And again, as Zach mentioned above, Paul Allen, the brother of this woman, big music guy. And you know, like, again, there's got to be something more to this, man. Got to be something more to this. I got my eyes in the chat, so if anyone has anything to add, let me know. I'm going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes. Sojourn says, smash that like button. Yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please smash that like button. Yeah, it kind of looks like he's standing in the middle of like the pillars, right? Yeah. Oh, wow. That's huge. Look at this, guys. Migu says Bin Laden equals 155 and 61. Look at that. So again, if you take the dates, I mean, look, if you take the dates, 15561 I mean, that's interesting. That's a great it's a great point. Wow. Okay. Yeah, but I'd like to see somebody take my info and make a whole decode out of it. I mean, maybe I won't even have time to get to this decode, or maybe I will. I don't know. Because there's got to be something to this, man. And it's got to connect to this year because the Seahawks just won the Super Bowl with this woman. That's why I think it's actually an important decode to look into. William III established the Bank of England. The intro to A Clockwork Orange uses Purcell's funeral of Queen Mary, who was his Corgan. How do you say that? Corgan? Interesting. Well, I mean, that connects with the orange stuff, like an orange jumpsuit, like in prison. Jailhouse Rock, huh? All right, guys, let's wrap this up. We got 180 in the chat, 189 in the chat, but I'm gonna wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and adding your infos. Thank you to all the people, even the people that were trying to cause issues. But I gotta have love for it. You know, can't always agree with what everyone does, but I at least gotta try to be the bigger person and just try to show love and try to do my best. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm not perfect. Trust me, I'm not perfect, guys. But I'm just trying to do my best. Really am. All right. So if you guys enjoyed the content, don't forget to hit that like button. Again, don't want to be pushy about it, but that's always appreciated. And then also, if you guys want to support the channel, buymeacoffee.com/decoding with Cody. Don't forget to support all the other great channels as well, like Gematria Book, and all the other all the other channels. There's so many. But until next time, guys, have a great rest of your evening. God bless you all, and I'll see you guys probably for a year of the horse decode. Got 3 days to the year of the horse, folks. So I'll see you then. Take care.